Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And welcome to B2B Energy Toolbox Tips. My name is Paul Webb, and I'm your host. And this week, we're going to be focusing on behavior and making a difference with your energy by managing energy through people. Now, there's some significant advantages and benefits to an organization when you actually manage your energy through people. And the main benefit here is actually it's a reduced cost to implement that. So you've either got to engage teams together to work together and focus, so that will increase the spirit of your team, and or you bring in a expert to work with your team. But predominantly, what we're looking at is your team focusing on your third largest expense. Throughout my career of working in this energy industry and working with organizations regarding saving their third largest expense, I've often found that organizations don't actually want to invest to save energy, or we would call it nowadays a spend to save. So we've had to fall back on behavior and looking at the quick wins or the low hanging fruits. And by focusing on these areas, we find that there's a percentage of saving that's significant. We could save up to 25% of energy consumption through your gas, electricity, and water just by focusing in these areas. And to give you clear direction regarding that, I've created a 9-point plan to help you manage your third largest expense through people. Best practice point number 1. When you open up your premises, ensure that the premises isn't open up 100% ready for your staff to start that day. And what I'm referring to that is if you open the premises up for say 8 o'clock in the morning and your staff don't actually start until 9, make sure that you don't have the premises open and running at 8 o'clock in the morning. You've got 1 hour worth of time there where you could actually trim back your energy costs to actually ensure that you're making a saving during that time, because you're only going to be wasting your energy. Best practice point number 2. In line with the opening of your premises regarding your operation, at the end of the day, now start to shut your building down in line with the operation. Best practice point number 3. Look to shut down areas of your building that aren't being used at that time. And a typical example of that would be your meeting rooms or a function room or any other meeting areas that you're not utilizing, maybe the canteen area, maybe a breakout area. If there's times of the day where no one is utilizing that area, shut the energy down. And what I mean by that, we shut the lighting down, air conditioning, possibly heating. If there's any small power that's been utilized in those areas, turn them off as well. So we can actually have them areas all shut down when not in use. And to ensure this is continually happening, make sure your team is regularly checking these. Best practice point number 4. Now, if you as an organization, you've got some catering areas, you've got a kitchen, you've possibly got some canteen and breakout areas that are being utilized, focus on these areas because they are very easily areas where you can start to see waste. So for instance, we'll be looking at kitchen rings regarding the gas cooking. Are they being utilized correctly? Are they off when they're not in use? The figure that used to be utilized for poor practice used to be around about £1,500 worth of wasted energy if a gas ring was not being operated correctly, e.g. left on when not in use. Look at the gas grills. Make sure they're only being utilised when we're using the grill itself. If it's not being used and the chef or the team need that going on a regular basis, just put that to half power. That will then balance off. Now, we don't need it on full power. There's some savings there to be had. Look at dripping taps in these areas, because these are prime areas for taps to be sort of providing waste. Look for poor practices regarding the lighting in certain areas, where you may have parts of the kitchen not being used. Shut them down. Focus on your refrigeration areas. If you've got fridges that don't have any products in, possibly either turn them off. If you can't turn them off because that causes problems, adjust the set points so they're not overcooling. Then we need to look at maybe the storeroom areas. So where you've got storerooms, are we leaving the lights on in those areas? So these are all very easy areas to focus on. And again, let's put a check sheet together for the team to go around and review on a regular basis. This is number 5, and probably my pet hate, I suppose, when I see organisations with that external lighting left on during the day. Please go around and have a checkpoint in the morning. Go and check to see where those lights are on in the afternoon and in the evening. If they are on, then let's focus on why they are on. Are they on because of an override? Are they on because of the time clock's incorrectly set? Just go and focus on that. There's significant waste of energy from these, from the external lighting that can be caused. And that's a visual thing as well, isn't it? When people going past your property and they can see the lights are on, what's in the back of their mind regarding how you are managing your third largest expense? Best practice point number 6. And we are now going to look at set points in your building regarding all your air conditioning systems. Now, I know everyone's different, but everyone, should dress appropriately, should dress for work, basically. And what we need to be focusing on is making sure that all these AC temperature set points are all set within a specific area. What we don't want is some areas up high and some areas very low. So pick a value which suits the organization. For instance, it could be 20 degrees. So 20 degrees is going to be the known brand standard of what we're going to set all our air conditioning units at. Then either get them manually set by the AC team, so you can't actually go above and below that set point. Document it to let everyone know that they're going to be the set points, and manage that. Manage that through your organization. Let them all be aware. If there is pushback regarding that, we need to explain to them the dress code of our team in the office. Best practice number 7. And number 7 is the time clock. Make sure all your time clocks are set correctly. Make sure the clock is correct regarding its timings, and make sure that the time clock settings are set in line with the business and the operation. And ensure that we have a start and a finish date that fits the organization. Interestingly, though, if you see that it isn't set, it's either coming off early or it's starting late, maybe that's the norm. Maybe we can keep it that way. Many of time I've seen that the time clock has been out by 1 hour, meaning the AC system was going off an extra hour. So instead of it going off at at 5 o'clock in the evening, it's actually going at 4, meaning that we could save an hour worth of energy. So look at the timings, balance it to meet your organization. Best practice point number 8, And number 8 is a paper exercise. And what we're going to do, we're going to get hold of our utility bills, and you will hear me talking about this on a regular basis. And we're going to carry out what I call a recce, okay, which is a rec. And that stands for rate, estimate, and consumption. So those 3 points, we're going to focus on the billing. We're going to look to see the rate. Is the rate what we're meant to be paying on our contract? Is the rate a sensible rate? Is it a rate that's been sort of within the marketplace currently at the moment? Estimate. Are our bills been estimated? And we can see that by looking at the consumption readings. It will say whether that bill's got an estimate reading on it. So make sure that hasn't got an estimated reading. If it has, go down, take a picture of the meter, and get that data sent to the supplier to make sure we're not being overcharged or even undercharged. You could find yourself in a very difficult situation regarding cash flow if you have been undercharged, because one day they will make a meter reading. And lastly, we're going to look at the consumption, okay? And we're going to focus on the consumption, record the consumption, and make sure that we are looking at our profiles correctly. And I can assure you, by doing this best practice, you will start to see your energy start to come down. And if you look at one of my previous toolbox tips, we cannot manage what we don't measure. This is your opportunity to start to manage what you're now going to measure. Best practice point number 9. And lastly, we're going to be focusing on the plant rooms. Now, when I talk about plant rooms, it's either the plant rooms in a commercial building or a larger property, or it could be like a small cupboard where you've got your plant in. So minimally, you're going to have a boiler and you're going to have a pump in there maybe. So what we need to check in these areas are, have these areas been suitably lagged? Okay. Is it hot in those areas? Can we see the bare metal regarding the piping? Are there areas we need to focus on actually getting relagged? Then we're going to look to see where we've got any leaks on the floor coming from the actual pipework, because obviously we are then going to be losing water. We have to pay for that water, and we've got a cost regarding heating there. So let's get on top of that. Then we can go to the control panel to see how the control panel's set regarding handoff auto. So we can make sure that that is set correctly and everything is under control. Thank you for listening to this toolbox tip. You will actually find throughout these 9 points some really good areas to focus on your third largest expense. And I can assure you, if you follow these 9 points, you will see significant savings to your energy consumption, which will then give you a reduced cost. And ultimately, it goes towards our carbon footprint globally. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for following the Toolbox tips. If you're not following Toolbox tips now, please subscribe below. There is a link. We're more than happy to hear your comments, and we'd like you to give us some more direction. What do you want to know more about regarding energy and energy management? Do not miss any of these toolbox tips to help you manage your third largest expense. My name is Paul Webb, and please be safe in these times, you and your family.